FIA Pure Motorsport. On this week's episode, we'll have some great Formula 4 action from Imola. We'll show you how data engineers improve the performance of the karts. We'll race uphill in Portugal. And much, much more from the FIA World of Motorsport. The second round of the FIA European Hill Climb Championship takes place in Portugal. 7 months after hosting the FIA Hill Climb Masters, the city of Braga is once again vibrating with the sound of engines, and the competitors will once again find themselves at the traditional course of the Rampa del Falpera, with its 5-kilometer length covered at an average speed of more than 170 kilometers per hour. Tens of thousands of motorsport fans don't want to miss this spectacle. With this backdrop, it's no wonder that the drivers shine with great performances. The final day got off to a sobering start for two favorites in Category 2. Croatian Domagoj Perekovic had to park his Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 9 in Heat 1. Heat 1 was also the end for overall leader in Category 1 Karl Schagerl from Austria when he touched the track barrier with his VW Golf Rally. This affords other drivers an opportunity to shine. First and foremost, Gabriela Carrera. The Portuguese racer had a great day in her Mercedes-AMG GT4 and impressed with consistent times. In the end, she missed the podium by just 0.3 of a second. A great performance in front of her home fans. Domagoj Perekovic snatched third place away from her. After dropping out in Heat 1, which is considered as a scratch result, he put in two very good runs in Heats 2 and 3. In his Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 9, he stays under 2 minutes 17 in both heats and manages his first podium of the season. The biggest surprise in Category 1, however, is Macedonian Igor Stefanovski. After a solid 7th place at the opening event in France, he drives well in Braga and makes it onto the podium for the first time with his Hyundai i30 TCR. With impressive times, he takes second place with a lead of 1.3 seconds. But even he cannot match Karl Schagerl's times. The Austrian has two great runs in his Bergmonster VW Golf Rally. After being eliminated in the first run, he not only clocks an excellent time in the second run, but is able to beat his result by a good 2 seconds in the final run. Just like in the first round, he also wins the second round of the FIA European Hill Climb Championship with a lead of almost 18 seconds over Igor Stefanovski. The biggest surprise in Category 2 was the German Alexander Hien. In only his second race in his Osella FA30, he immediately achieved a place on the podium. After a gripping battle for third place against the Spaniard Josebe Arralo Lazagorta, he prevails in the end with a lead of only 0.35 seconds. After After a disappointing 5th place in France, Czech Peter Trinka is back in form in Portugal in his Norma M20 FC. He set the second best time in all 3 runs. A commanding 2nd place for the 29-year-old. Is the reigning champion and the most consistent driver in recent years. This season, he's not only driving in front, he's driving at another level. In a sport where it's usually a matter of tenths of seconds, he dominates the competition by several seconds in his Osella FA30. At the opening race in France, he was 7 seconds ahead of 2nd place. In Portugal, it's 6.375 seconds. That's back-to-back dominant races for the Italian. Peter Trinka's in 2nd place. Alexander Heen completes the podium, a great result for the German and his crew. The Formula 4 Championship is the optimal entry point into the one-seater series for young and talented kart drivers who want to take the next step.
I think that all the category just after the Formula 4 are quite similar in terms of driving style. Change the car, but what you learn here driving this kind of car is an experience that you can bring with yourself when you jump in a Formula Regional.
To better protect the young drivers from the start, the FIA introduced the 2nd generation of the F4 car. It's been carefully developed to offer significant upgrades in the key areas of safety and performance while remaining cost-effective for championship organizers and competitors.
The car, it's a bit heavier, a bit wider and more safe actually.
The most important change is, first of all, in terms of safety. So a big applause to FIA and to AC Sport and Tatus because they made a car. This is really good.
The centerpiece is a driver crash protection system which consists of a curved bar placed to protect the driver's head.
So they made some good improvements.
To ensure that the young drivers survive accidents unscathed, the survival cell has been upgraded to be in line with the most up-to-date safety standards, providing more protection and support for a driver during side impact. To achieve this, stringent load tests have been implemented for the survival cell side strength and the side of the frontal anti-intrusion panels of the new car. In the National F4 Championship, drivers at various stages of physical development drive the same car, which means it can feature teenagers as young as 15 racing against adults in their mid-20s. This is why the latest Gen 2 car has been designed to incorporate 3 seat shell sizes to optimize safety for all statures. This offers more ergonomic flexibility to accommodate different driver sizes and increased visibility to ensure maximum accessibility.
It does help because I think it can fit a driver that's about 195 in these cars. So yeah, I have quite a lot of space and it's nice because the other one was getting a bit small. Yeah, I think it's an improvement from the last generation and it's quite nice to drive the car.
The Italian F4 Championship is the longest running of the Formula 4 series. It commenced in 2014, seeing young drivers who have reached Formula 1, such as Lance Stroll, Lando Norris, and Mick Schumacher. The 2022 schedule includes 7 rounds with stops among other places at the legendary circuit of Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium and at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. In its 9th year, more than 30 drivers are taking part in the series. Among them is the 2-time FIA European karting champion Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Driving with him in the Prima Racing team is 17-year-old Brazilian Rafael Camara, who is part of the Ferrari Driver Academy. Just like Maya Voigt, the Dutch-Belgian-Spanish 18-year-old is the first female driver to have ever joined the academy. There's also a touch of Formula One flair in the paddock. Charlie Wurz, son of ex-Formula One driver Alex, and the Brazilian Emerson Fittipaldi Jr., son of the two-time Formula One world champion Emerson, want to take the next step in their careers. The first race of the new season sees two Prima Racing drivers in the front row. Andrea Kimi Antonelli, number 12, on the pole position on the right-hand side, and next to him, Rafael Camara. The Ferrari Junior Camara makes a strong getaway from the front row to challenge Pullman Antonelli, but the Mercedes-AMG Junior is able to resist the attack to hold on to the lead, and already in the first lap, the two Prima Racing drivers are pulling away. Then Conrad Larsson lands in the gravel. The race is over for the Dane. Australian Marcos Flack tries to pass Arya Stoikmachian on the inside, but spins after short contact with the wheels. On lap 10, Antonelli suddenly slows, handing the lead to Camara before pulling into the pits to retire with a gearbox issue that left him unable to shift up into fifth gear. Number 22, Ireland's Alex Dunn has a great race. Starting from position 7, he completes his progress through the field, demoting Bedrine to second place. While Alexander Partashev breaks and ends up in the gravel, Camara comes under late pressure from Dunn, but holds him off to win by 0.338 seconds, with Bedrine resisting Wharton for the final podium spot. Camara collects a very important victory at his F4 Italian debut. Dunn finishes second and Bedrine in third place. In race 2, Frederick Lund in pole position makes a slow getaway, and Iron Lynx driver Ivan Dominguez races into the lead from the outside of the front row ahead of Pedro Claro. The U.S. racing duo of Kasper Stutka and Dunn move up into third and fourth from the third row of the grid. Dunn quickly demolishes the 2-second advantage built up by Dominguez and takes the lead on the way into Tamburello for the fourth time. Then Ivan Dominguez gets under pressure from the second U.S. racing driver Kasper Stutka. The Polish driver pulls the same move 2 laps later, but can't prevent Dunn from building up a 5-second lead out front. After battling with teammate Ivan Dominguez for 3 laps, Maja Voigt finally overtakes him. Voigt finishes 6th, thus claiming her best result in car racing so far. At the back of the field, Alexander Partashev spins and drops back to 25th position, while the once leading Ivan Dominguez must also let Martinez Stenshorn pass. The Norwegian ends up in 5th place. The only interruption of the race arrives with the accident between Flack and Badur. That makes it necessary for the safety car to enter the track. The restart of the race is at the last lap and does not change anything in the first 3 positions. Alex Dunn recovers from a 5-spot grid penalty that saw him losing the pole position to dominate the second race. Team member Kasper Stutka comes in 2nd position, and Australian driver James Wharton finishes in 3rd spot. In the last race of the weekend, Ivan Dominguez starts from the pole position, but Kasper Stutka on the left has a better start and overtakes the Iron Lynx team driver. By the end of lap 1, the Polish U.S. racing driver has already built up a lead of 1.1 seconds. Number 88, Ferrari Junior Camara was quickly up to 3rd from 5th on the grid and closes the gap to Ivan Dominguez in 2nd position. A few moments later, he overtakes Dominguez before the braking zone for Tamburello and starts his attempt to catch up with the leader. Shortly after, driver error by Dominguez, and he has to let some competitors pass by. Antonelli's difficult weekend continues as he makes an overly optimistic move on teammate James Wharton, dropping the Australian down to 11th. As Kamara set a series of fastest laps, the gap to Stuttgart is down below 1 second, but Kaspar Stuttgart resists the intense pressure from the flying Rafael Kamara to take his maiden Italian Formula 4 victory. After his win in race 1, Rafael Kamara with a good solid second place finish, Alex Dunn completes the great race weekend with a third podium finish in his third race. No wonder that he now has a 58-point lead in the championship. Rafael Kamara is second, 11 points back, Kaspar Stuttgart in third. The second round of the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine also took place at Imola. In the first two races of the weekend, Gabriele Mini was starting from the pole position and held the lead from start to finish. But the Italian got a 10-second penalty for a jump start and fell in the standings back to 20th place. This way, second-place finisher Dino Berganovic from Sweden took his second win of the season. Mari Boya got the second step on the podium. The Spanish driver preceded Paul Aron. In the second race of the weekend, Gabriele Mini again starting from the pole position and this time without any mistakes. He confirmed his excellent form with a lights to flag win, his first of the season. Dino Beganovic finished in second position, and with 4 podium finishes on the season, the Swede extends his overall lead in the championship. Brazilian Gabriel Bortoleto completed the podium in third. Ugandan driver Jas Mangat and co-driver Joseph Kamya are the winners of the 2022 Pearl of Africa Uganda Rally. It was his first Pearl of Africa Rally win since 2013 and the first for a local crew since 2016. In the third round of the FIA Africa Rally Championship, Zambia's Leroy Gomez and Ursula Gomez took second place, finishing 5 minutes and 5 seconds behind. With their third podium finish, they continue to lead the FIA Africa Rally Championship standings with 78 points, ahead of the Kenyan pair of Patel Khan, who are 33 points behind. The Italian-Belgian team of Giancarlo David and Silvia Findervogel finished in a very good third place. Round 2 of the 2022 FIA European Historic Rally Championship was held in the Czech Republic with the 30th Historic Flatva Rally, based in the city of Klatovy, as host of the event. The Audi Quattro of reigning Category 3 champions Zippo and Dennis Pacino posted the fastest overall time on 4 of the 7 stages to take the finish 23.8 seconds ahead of the Lancia Rally 037 of the Finns Vili Silvasti and Risto Pitalainen. Hungarians Tibor Erdi Jr. and Sultan Shoko finished third overall on their FIA EHRC debut in their Ford Sierra RS Cosworth 4x4. To be successful in karting, you need talent and driving skills, but it's not enough to just sit in the seat and push down the foot. The teams study a driver's performance after each session, and data engineers can use engine revs, top speed, lateral G-force, and even exhaust and water temperature to assess what the driver is doing behind the wheel.
The first thing is checking that the mechanical part is okay when it comes to performance of the engine, working temperatures and things like that.
You can change multiple components on a kart during a race weekend. Camber, caster, toe-in, toe-out, stub axles, hubs, even screws from the seat and bodywork can make a huge difference. Everything from tire pressure to chassis flex is heavily monitored.
After, we also take a small look about the performance of the driver itself. Not only the best lap time he managed to get on track, but also the consistency, because in the end it's not the same being able to make one proper fast lap than being able to make the 10, 12, 15 minutes or laps of the session in that constant and good speed.
And the drivers get direct feedback on their performance on the track.
When it comes to looking for the lap time, the main things is, for example, looking like the braking mark is the proper one, that the driver is not braking either too early or too late. Then after you look also the minimum speed, where they tend to accelerate, and with all this information shown in the screen, then you start deciding which driving style suits a bit better the track conditions, or if you are trying two different setups with two different drivers, which is the proper one for the conditions of the circuit at that moment.
Learning the track will be a key to getting the best out of the event, and drivers can improve this by scrutinizing their data closely.
I think it's really important for them to understand why we drive in a certain way. Memorizing will be kind of a shortcut. With the precision of the system, it's possible to tell them, okay, you can brake 1 meter later, you can brake 1 meter earlier. But to me, it's really important that they can understand why we drive in a certain way. And they understand when they're making a mistake themselves, or either by being too aggressive or either by being too conservative, so they can adapt their driving while they are on the track, and not just waiting after finishing the session to come back to the tent and then watching on the data what were the main issues with the session.
And the drivers are not only becoming more experienced on the racetrack, but also in the handling and classification of the data.
So in the beginning, you have to kind of look for the driver, bring it to the data set, and explain him about the session. And when they get more and more experience, they want to understand what's going on, and they want to understand why suddenly they are a little bit quicker, a little bit slower than the session before. So they start having the questions and understand that here maybe they can find the answers.
And every answer helps them to get better and faster, because in karting, every millisecond found can make the difference between winning and losing. The home of champions, Karting Genk, scene of many top-level racing drivers' first steps into motorsport competition. It's the perfect venue to kickstart the 13th annual running of the FIA Karting Academy Trophy. In the Academy Trophy, 54 drivers aged 11 to 14 are selected from around the world to represent their country in equal machinery. There are no teams, no testing, and no holds barred. It means that it all comes down to skill and racecraft on the track. After Friday morning practice, the grid is split into qualifying groups of 6-minute sessions. The order is then staggered into groups, which are then rotated across 6 qualifying heats until everybody has raced 3 times. The Academy Trophy starts in a very competitive manner with 5 different winners from the first 5 heats of the season, but with Arthur Dorison of France sealing 2 wins out of the 3, he's the favorite to win in Genk. At the start of the final, Dorison is able to keep his cool into turn 1 ahead of Guillaume Bouzard, but after a few challenges in the first sector, William Go, with the red helmet, demonstrates he isn't in a mood to wait around and makes the move at the end of the second sector. It isn't the perfect start to the season for everybody, as Gabriel Sano and Alexander Deshkov are out on the first lap. Number 553, Luca Houghton, is making a charge through the pack as he passes Pezel for 5th, as Dino Stroszku crawls to a halt with mechanical failure, much to the Romanian's frustration. The talented Swiss star Chiara Batic joins him on the sidelines just moments later. The titanic struggle for 7th between Joel Poliola, Jindrik Pezel, and Caleb Gefrauer captures everyone's attention. Once the 2 men find their way past Poliola, the Finn is determined to make up for lost time, but accidentally bangs wheels with Adrian Ferrer. Elsewhere, number 523, Mark Dubitsky, tumbles down the order after a short trip over the grass. The 3 men up front trade sector times for the remainder of the duel, as whenever one driver steps up the pace, the others respond. So Arthur Dorison leads William Go and Guillaume Bouzard, with Nicolas Roos waiting in the wings. Number 518, Poliola, continues to battle with Gefrauer as the race continues, with the Finn proving his skill. Number 538, William Go, steps up the pace and closes on Dorison once again, but he can't quite get close enough to take the ultimate risk. Canadian sensation Hadi Mimasi's brilliant weekend ends in disappointment, but he'll be back for more in Cremona. Pezel, with the yellow helmet, makes his move on Alexander Bugonovic, but as the Slovenian retaliates, Pezel runs wide and gets airborne over the grass. How he controls the kart from a nasty accident and then keeps going to the finish is a true test of character from the talented young Czech. Number 5, 53, Houghton moves up into 4th place after overtaking Nicolas Rose. And it's heartbreak for Tiziano Cuzzini as he joins the list of retirements after a tough weekend. Number 518, Joel Poyola is the man to catch and pass Roos just 3 laps later, and he's in touch with Houghton and executes a classic slingshot maneuver, and the deed is done. Sadly, he's too far back for a podium, but he makes a big impression. The duel up front sadly never really materializes as all 3 men are so evenly matched throughout, but it means that Arthur Dorison can begin his campaign in victorious fashion ahead of William Goh and Guillaume Bouzard. It looks like it's going to be one of the closest seasons yet for the Academy Trophy, so a win in 2022 is even sweeter than usual. After the first stop in Genk, Arthur Dorison takes the lead in the overall standings with 35 points. William Goh is 7 points behind his second. Bouzard is in 3rd place. That's it for today. On our next episode of FIA Pure Motorsport, we're in the south of France with the Formula Regional. We'll be opening the autocross season in Latvia, and we'll show you spectacular drag racing from England. Till next time, take care everybody, and ciao.
Welcome to the magnificent Ardennes in Belgium for the 3rd round of the 2022 FIM Sidecar World Championship. The scenery here is spectacular, the weather even more so, a massive crowd because we're here with World Endurance. Todd Ellis with that 4-point lead, he and Emmanuel Clement at the top of the pile over Schlosser and Fries. Tim Reeves-Russo not here, they're away on TT duty. Kershaw and Charwood, this is their big chance. Thiessen and Payne not here either. Everyone enjoying the sunshine, not least of all the Santander Salt crew. It's pole position then for Todd Ellis and Emmanuel Clement. They line up with Kershaw right there behind them, lining up alongside Schlosser. Benny Stroyer is there as well, and Markus Schlosser in the background there. He is. So 2nd place, trailing by 4 points in the standings. And the first race here was unbelievably exciting. We're going to show you a short version of that before we get into the live action later in the day. Revs built as the lights went out, and it was a cracking start with Benny Stroyer alongside Todd Ellis and Emmanuel Clement. Meant business, and that's exactly what he did. He swept out into the very first turn, taking the lead marginally, but going wide. Ellis stuck back underneath and resumed control at the front. Kershaw and Charwood, the 29 Quattro Plant Yamaha duo, were in 3rd ahead of Schlosser. Then there was a fantastic battle shaping up between Ted and Vincent Peugeot and Lucas Thiessen and Thomas Hoffer. Meanwhile, Kershaw and Charwood hunting down Benny Stroyer and Kevin Coach. Ahead of them, you can see Todd Ellis, and at this moment in time, the Gustol Yamaha of Schlosser and Fries was there in 4th, but look how close Peugeot and Thiessen were. Then came Rob Biggs and Max Vasseur. Kevin Cable, Charlie Richardson, 111, had an amazing start. They were so fast out of the trap. That momentum carried them through to a great finish, as you will see. Good racing all the way down the field. This circuit, out in the countryside, a massive fly splattered Schlosser's camera, and that was the end of the visibility from that particular angle. It didn't affect his racing, of course, but it might have affected your enjoyment. But I don't think so. Schlosser then closing on Kershaw. Kershaw dropping back slightly from Benny Stroyer. Underneath the Gustave Yamaha of Schlosser and Fries, relegating Kershaw and Charlwood to fourth place in this magnificent countryside with elevation changes of over 102 metres from the highest point of the track to the lowest point of the track. Only the Ardennes, with its 4.37 mile spa circuit, can offer you that degree of variety. Up through Eau Rouge and out onto the top straight, Pebble Straight, before the right and left of Les Cours. Peugeot going wide, that's Eau Rouge, that allowed Wiesen up to fifth.
The first Grand Prix,
number 41 Swiss crew, different livery this weekend. The familiar red and white being replaced by blue and white, but proudly carrying the Gustav colours, which basically positions them as teammates to Markus Schlosser and Marcel Fries. Ellis and Clement, though, supreme out in front with Benny Stroyer, the 2015 World Champion, leading Markus Schlosser, the 2021 World Champion, with Steve Kershaw right in his gap. Benny Stroyer, Kevin Kolschden. Underneath went Schlosser. Another notch on the bedpost for him, so he's up now to second place. And all he had to do was hunt down the race leaders. Well, what's it going to happen? These were long races, 11 laps here over this, the longest circuit that the sidecars will visit in 2022. Still, Ted Peugeot with Lucas Wiesen. And these two were basically welded together throughout the whole race. That's how close they were. The 19-year-old 74 Peugeot with his father, Vincent, doing an absolutely sterling job. And of course, Vincent Peugeot, still a young man. Number 19, Markus Schwegler, was being chased all the way by Vermeulen, the Dutchman, until that crew went out with front-end damage. They'd obviously been contact.
Kershaw, very close, under second, 0.87 seconds.
Schlosser was closing. The battle for third place was still very much alive with Stroyer and Kolsch. Kershaw, though, getting closer at this point. Moving in. Rob Biggs down there in seventh place, having a lonely race behind these guys, who were anything but lonely. Wiesen and Peugeot welded together, as I said earlier, throughout the whole race. There, Rob Biggs and Max Vasseur, his passenger for the weekend, who also did Le Mans with him. Rob Biggs, of course, teammate in the Santander team to Todd Ellis. Kevin Cable, Charlie Richardson, acquitting themselves really, really well. The rest of these guys coming through. Cedric and Arnaud Pierre, there, the number 39 crew. Belgium on home territory. Chicane. Todd Ellis heading for victory here. Checkered flag out. And it's a good victory for him. Race one. He was very, very pleased with that. Kershaw had a last attempt and made it through on Benny Stroyer to claim the final podium place. So that was Kershaw's day. A weekend made complete before even race two got underway. Confirmation of that, it was 1.6 seconds Ellis beat Schlosser by, with Kershaw there. Way back that battle, but only second lead in the score. Wiesen, Peugeot, that went all the way down to the wire for fifth place. Biggs there, Schwegler 11th, Vinet, Levi, Galler, ever faithful. Picking up the final point, the podium, and smiling faces all round. race 2 coming to the line. The crowd full of expectation, because what they saw in race 1 had every possibility of building this into an even better affair. Lining up alongside then on the front row, Benny Stroyer, Kevin Kolsch. They must have been thrilled with their opening race. And Kershaw on the podium, of course he and Ryan Charwood would be delighted. Todd Ellis then on pole position. Kershaw on row 2 behind. You've got Wiesen and Peugeot. And there can Markus Schlosser and Marcel Fries go one better this time out. Crews leaving the grid. The grandstand's packed here at Spa, because coming up, the 24-hour race for solos. Right, heads went down. Everybody off. Red flag gone. Lights were on. Lights were off, and another cracking start by Ellis. He and Benny Stroyer were neck and neck away off the line, but who gets it? It's Ellis just in front, going a bit wide. Benny Stroyer tucking up the inside. Side by side they go as they rock it down. This is a spectacular piece of action through here. Look at Schlosser, look at Kershaw. Ellis then up the inside again, nipping through to reassume control at the front. 25 points, I beg your pardon, in the opening race. But Benny Stroyer showed what he could do, and here he goes again. Stroyer then, and Kershaw having a look at Ellis. So suddenly, and Schlosser through. Goodness me, nip and tuck or what? Ellis back to third, back on Kershaw. Sensational stuff here. And this is only round 3. Well, eat your heart out, you guys who are not here to be part of this action, because this is nothing short of fantastic. The reigning champion then in second place.
115 points.
Benny Stroyer, Kevin Kolsch lead.
106 points, so it's 9 points ahead.
There, Rob Biggs, Max Vasseur got a cracking start. Another flyer for Kevin Cable and Chaz Richardson on the L&W Contractors bike. What a sensational weekend those boys are having. Just great. The black leathers of Max Vasseur there. On board with Markus Schlosser. No fly on his camera this time. Hunting down then the race leader. He lost 5 points to Ellis that time. What does he want to do this time? Well, obviously, claw back that disadvantage. Schlosser, Marcel Fries. Very humid, very warm here. 10 right-handers, 9 left. Elevation change, as I said earlier, of way over 100 metres. The scenery on board. Here goes Schlosser, moving out then to go past Benny Stroyer. Is Benny Stroyer going to keep it going through this chicane here? Well, that's it. Over the line they go. Schlosser in the lead. Ellis, Clement down to third in the 16-point position. Not where they want to be. The crowd, there's an English-speaking commentator here, keeping them abreast of everything that's going on. The crowd absolutely loving it. This is a very good appetizer. They love their sidecar racing here. Further down the order, lots of battles going on. No Tim Reeves, no Harry Payne. They are both on TT duty. Benny Stroyer then, determined to get on the podium. This time, having nipped from under his nose in race 1. He's alongside the race leader, Benny Stroyer, Kevin Kolsch. But on the brakes, it's Schlosser. Schlosser then holding that advantage, but that R6 of Benny Stroyer, the maneuver action bike, is very, very quick. And it's not just about slipping. The Avon tyres doing a great job here. Track temperature quite high, blue skies as you can see, quite humid. Now look at the elevation drop away down the hill. The crews, without exception, adore this Francorchamps circuit. Stroyer, let's see how quick his bike is. We know Schlosser's is quick. 4 of them, so close. This is unbelievable. World class sidecar racing. In race 1, Kershaw and Charwood. 4th at the moment, but they're eyeing up. Cyrus leaders. The Anglo-French pairing. Todd Ellis. Remember, this man has only been running sidecars for 3 more seasons. The COVID situation disrupted his learning curve somewhat, and he was tipped to be a champion one day. Well, I think that day might well be not too far away. He is right with all the style, all the quality. He and his young French lady passenger, 25 years of age, he's 27, absolutely joking. I've said before how it astonishes me how these young girls, slight build, have the stamina to run at this speed for this amount of laps. 11 laps left here, that's a long, long way, over 50 miles of racing. Look at Kershaw. Kershaw then on the back of Benny Stroyer, Todd Ellis up to second place, past the Bonova Action Yamaha. Now Kershaw fancies a bit of this as well. Steve Kershaw, Ryan Charlwood right with it, so there are 2 battles going on here. Battle for the lead, battle for third. Whew, I'm going to take some breath. Amazing, amazing stuff. Tightly woven pigtail of Emmanuel Clement flapping in the wind here. Todd Ellis gets the hammer down with a very, very determined Marcus Schlosser right behind. So this race goes on. Stroyer with Kershaw then now, having gone past up to a bit of a slide there. The back end let go. That allowed Benny Stroyer. He saw that. He would have witnessed that and thought, oh, maybe the tyres are going off a bit here. Maybe I can get another notch. And he does. He's alongside. So here he goes. Benny Stroyer, Kevin Koch, sweeping past Kershaw and Charlwood. That little mistake, that threepenny bit action coming round the left-hander was all that Benny Stroyer needed for Kershaw to drop behind him. But it's not over yet. Kershaw now popping out again. What a terrific race this is. Kershaw now still in fourth, but Benny Stroyer determined not to lose out this time. At the front, Todd Ellis, Emmanuel Clement. Is it too much to hope that they can bring this home to double victory here? That will be their first double in a World Championship. Well, it's just too much to hope for. But look at this, that great battle going on further down the order between the French and the Swiss. Still Rob Biggs, Max Vasseur, having a good 7th place here. Well, great, I mean, considering Rob Biggs has only dipped a toe in the water at World Championship racing, he's acquitting himself really well. 39 there, Cedric and Arnaud Pierrat. The Belgian locals, they've acquitted themselves well. Schlosser then moving in on the back of Todd Ellis. Is it going to be a move on the inside at the right-hander? I think it might be. Ellis played him in his own game and ran in deep on the brakes. Too deep? I don't think so. The youngster doesn't make mistakes like that. Well, not too many of them anyway. Absolutely brilliant, brilliant stuff between these 2 crews. First and second in the title. Came here 4 points apart. Going into this race, they were 9 points apart. And there goes Schlosser. Schlosser then determined to claw back that lost advantage. Is it going to be honours even here? Todd Ellis, Emmanuel Clement there. Now down into second place. Benny Stroyer coming. So all the way down the field, these battles are raging. You could not have better conditions for racing. You could not have a more spectacular circuit. And the backdrop just sensational.
The slipstream is gone. Todd Ellis has
dropping down the hill. Schlosser with Ellis shadowing him now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 machine lengths here. Yamaha plays Yamaha. Gust Oil team plays Santander Salt team.
6 points, but the championship is still
Lucas
to
Wiesen,
go. Still 5 rounds.
blue and white livery, having got the better of young Ted Peugeot, who cooked his clutch on the line and has been nursing it through this race with a burnt clutch. So Peugeot slipping back just a little bit, but in 6th place and holding it. That's the main thing. On board with Peugeot now, in 6th place. Ted and Van Son. Up the road, Lucas Wiesner and Thomas Hofer. Don't forget he's bringing this home with a foot clutch. Behind him, Rob Biggs and Max Vasseur in 7th. So it will be a 9-point finish for Biggs and Vasseur to back up the 9 points they picked up in race 1. First World Championship outing. If they finish like this, they'll go home with 18 points. Well, it's getting close now, deep into the race. Gasol Yamaha leads Santander, Salt Yamaha, and Ellis has got to do it soon if he's going to do it at all. And the thing is, where will he choose? Will it be in the braking zone? Will it be drafting on speed? It's going to be a tough call, because we know the yellow and black Yamaha Schulze is quick. Look at Emmanuel Clement, the way she works. 5th place here then for Lucas Wiesner, the young, likeable Swiss. He and Thomas Hofer, fellow countrymen, both Swiss. So long the Swiss were so very good at this, and they will be again. And indeed they are again, of course. Gasol Yamaha with a smaller fly on the camera this time. Race leader then, Schlosser. Marcel Fraser through goes Todd Ellis, Emmanuel Clement. Well, he left it late, he left it really late. Swept through into the lead. So is the double on here for the number 6 Santander Salt pairing. Oh, what a race we've had. Nipping and tugging. I've lost count of the number of changes of position in the top 6. Race leaders then, Todd Ellis, Emmanuel Clement, into the closing stages of this final lap now here. Are they going to bring it home? Are they going to fend off the last ditch stand, which you just know it's going to come from Marcus Schlosser. He'll throw everything at it going into the final turn. Benny Stroyer, Kevin Kolsch in 3rd place, 5th place for the Swiss boys, and it will be 4th for Kershaw and Charlwood. To back up the podium, they're Ted and Vincent Peugeot, bringing it home. A steady 6th for them. Very consistent. Let's hope they come on and do the rest of the rounds. They said to me in Le Mans they were running out of money. Here comes the Gasol Yamaha. Oh, that could have cost him. The back end broke away there. That was his opportunity, and it's a done deal. Ellis and Clement get victory here, and that is what 0.3 of a second looks like. 3rd place for Benny Stroyer. What a battle. She's delighted. We're all delighted. And it's been a race and a half. Look at that. 3/10. Ellis, Schlosser, Stroyer completing the podium. Kershaw, Charlwood dropped back a little bit, but how consistent have they been this year? Wiesner, Peugeot, Biggs, Kevin Cable, Charlie Richardson. Hats off, gentlemen. Brilliant. Final point going to Galin and Bouchard.
Yeah, fantastic. It was a brilliant second race. It got very close. There was 4 teams in the mix at the start, and we had a brilliant battle with Schlosser right up until the last lap, and yeah, pushed us right to the end. It's our first double, so yeah, we're loving it.
It's just a fantastic track, just fast, floating, and the famous Eau Rouge Redillon is really nice in passenger, and yeah, 2 victories, so we are just really happy about our weekend.
Yeah, today was good, was perfect. A lot better than yesterday. Yesterday I think I took too much from the tires in the first 5-6 laps, and today I tried to save my tires at the beginning, and at the end it was still alright. So it was a lot better today than yesterday.
Yeah, it's a lovely track. It's completely different to everything else I've ever raced on. But yeah, it was just good, and we're very pleased with the result.
What a wonderful commercial for Sidecar Racing. Look at that then. A 14-point advantage now. Ellis leads Schlosser. Kershaw moves into 3rd because Reeves did not play this weekend. Wiesner, Stroyer, Peugeot. Stroyer moved into 6th with his weekend. Absolutely wonderful racing here at Spa. Join us when we're in Hungary, but, well, that picture says it all. The magnificent Ardennes, Spa-Francorchamps. What a way to complete round 3. Fantastic.